Welcome to Dear Sandy. I'm Sandy Galiff, a member of the New York State Assembly, representing parts of northern Westchester and parts of Putnam County. And today we're going to be talking about a wonderful new program that started called Latino U College Access. And, you know, we all know that our kids, every year we go through this college process and, you know, we encourage people to go on for higher education. And there are always unfortunately, some areas where, you know, we just don't it's much more difficult to encourage involvement in college. So we're going to be talking about that with my two guests. And Shirley Acevedo Buontempo is the founder and executive director of Latino U. And also with us is Felix Flores, who is an advisor or a counselor or a collaborator, and had been a principal of a school in Ossining, and you know firsthand the problems of encouraging everybody to have that educational opportunity, equal opportunity to higher education. And tell me a little bit about what the program is all about. How did you get into this, Shirley, and where is it going, and what are the problems? You know, kind of give us an overview.
Well, I am a nonprofit professional with over 10 years experience working with local nonprofit organizations. I worked at a food pantry in northern Westchester and a family center in Mount Kisco. Prior to that, I had professional business experience working as a marketing and advertising professional. And after 10 years of being in the nonprofit industry, I started to recognize that there was a significant need for college resources and support for first-generation students, particularly first-generation Latino students, whom were the clients that I had been serving in my nonprofit experience. The mission of Latino U College Access is to help first-generation students increase college enrollment and college completion rates. We hope to do this through a series of programs that educate, inform, and support the students and their families. The complexity of the admissions process and the complexity of the financial aid process is often a huge barrier to first-generation students.
Right. So these are students that probably their mom and dad haven't gone off to college.
Correct.
Or maybe they actually went to college in a country that they might have lived in before. I mean, but the United States is quite different. And I can't imagine, it's hard enough for students that have lived here all their lives, you know, have parents that have been to college to be able to access the process.
Correct.
But with somebody who hasn't had that background, it's really tough.
Yes, a lot of first-generation students, and by first generation we mean the ones that are the first to go to college, or as you said, they may have parents that have had experiences outside of the U.S. or maybe had some college here in the U.S. but not significant amount of experience. The barriers that a lot of students face is that they aspire to go, they want to go, but because they're going through the process entirely on their own. Usually their parents provide emotional and moral support, but they don't understand the online applications, do the research, the forms that are required. It's an extensive and complicated process. And so these students go through the process entirely on their own, and what happens is they often under-apply, meaning they apply to schools that they're more than qualified for, or they don't bother to apply. They become overwhelmed by the process. And so our organization is designed to help students and work collaboratively with school districts and other community organizations in the communities that we serve to bring information sessions to parents and workshops to students to help them maneuver through this process.
Felix, you were a principal at a school in Ossining. I think the students were a little bit younger, but you know, what did you see in your day-to-day activities? You had students that were what age?
They were third, fourth graders.
Right.
And when I was at Brookside, there were second and third graders, but from second to third. That was my direct experience as an administrator, although in Ossining we handled all the kids from pre-K to 12th grade. So what we saw was that we had a variety of students with a variety of experiences, a variety of needs, and that's always been true in schools. But that students who were, especially students of newly arrived parents, this was, as was mentioned earlier, it's a new experience, it's a new culture, new language oftentimes. And we had in Ossining created an organization called Director Alcance with the purpose of working with parents to familiarize them with our system, with our school system, and to help with the acculturation process. And when we learned about Latino U, we thought it was a hand-in-glove fit with our long-range goals of working with students across the board from pre-K all the way through, and then with Latino U's goals of getting students into college and through college. So we said, wow, what a great fit this will be.
Right.
And Proyecto Alcance was a great collaborator with us. The school district has been supportive and accommodating of our needs and our offers to host information sessions. The Ossining Public Library has offered their auditorium and their facilities for us to utilize for our programs. So the community has embraced the Latino U programs, but Proyecto Alcance gave us that direct contact and connection with the clients that we're trying to serve and that we're trying to reach. So they were the conduits to get families to come to our events, and they gave us a sense of being endorsed by an existing organization that has education as one of its missions and one of its goals and has already established a rapport with the community.
So they kind of reached out, you all reached out to find out where the people were that had children that might have those kind of needs, and
They
then
work with them on
and
an ongoing
right, you work with them
basis.
all the time, so then you slide them over to the college preparatory
Right.
kind of issues.
They invite them to attend our events, and at our first event in Ossining, we hosted a financial aid information session, and we distributed bilingual material. We hosted the information in Spanish for families, and we reached out to the families in middle school through high school, and we had close to 100 people in attendance. And the response for the community was overwhelming. They were so appreciative that the information was being provided in a clear, relevant manner to them and addressing a lot of their cultural and personal issues. So we, as an organization, really strive to do that. I think a lot of times what happens with college programs is we forget who our audience is, and we speak to everyone under the assumption that everyone has the same access to knowledge and experience with whether it's financial forms or whether it's knowledge of the process. And if you're making that assumption and you're talking to someone who doesn't know that, then you lose that opportunity to help them and to educate them.
And what was very impressive also was that it wasn't just information on how to get financial aid or the financial process, but it was also this is how we can continue helping. It didn't end there.
Right.
So right after that, there was something called a boot camp. Parents were invited to come in on a Saturday to one of our high school, to the Ossining High School, to actually go on and do the forms that have to be completed before students can be eligible for financial aid or in the college application process. So it wasn't just that here's some information, but here's how we can continue working together so that our children can get through this whole process and even follow up later.
let's
So
think
there's a
about some
promise
of- it's-
of continuation.
Right.
Yeah.